Hello, good morning, and welcome again to El Indio Andino. Today's trip is kind of exciting because this is a trip that I have wanted to undertake for a long time, and it is to one of my favorite regions in this part of Colombia, the beautiful Tenza Valley region. So the idea today is that we visit at least two towns. One is Manta. Manta is a small town in the department of Cundinamarca, belonging to the province of Almeidas. Although we think of Tenza Valley region to be comprised entirely of the department of Boyacá. Well, however, there are three municipalities of Tenza Valley region that are part of Cundinamarca. One is Manta, the other one is Tivirita, and the third one is Macheta. Of course, to come to this town, we crossed Macheta, and perhaps another day I'll stop to take some videos. But today we are in Manta, and the idea, well, the plan that I have is spend some time here and then perhaps go to Guajata. That's in Boyacá. I've been to that town before, like I've been to Manta before, but I wanted to spend some time taking good photos and videos there as well. So welcome to the beautiful Tenza Valley, where Tenza refers to going down at night. And one of the really fascinating parts of Tenza Valley, according to me, is from standing in one town, you'll be able to get really good views of the towns that are further away, right? So let's see which towns are the ones that we can look at today. Thank you. So this is Manta of Almeidas province, Cundinamarca department, and this you can consider it to be the second or the third town of Tenza Valley, because the first point of Tenza Valley is the town of Macheta. So, and from Macheta, this town is about 30 minutes away, and on the other side of the mountains you can actually see Tivirita, and from here the other important towns such as Guateque should be about another 45 minutes to 1 hour away. Just see how steep the streets are, and to drive up to Manta, well, all of Tenza Valley for that matter, is also a lot of curvy roads. If I remember right, from here we can take a view of a small town. Let's see if we are able to, and if I'm right, it is Somontoko or has to be Guajata. Let's see if we can take a visit or take a view. And this is the view. This is the view of the towns. And remember, we are no longer at 2,600 meters above sea level. We are perhaps 1,800 meters above sea level. So the climate here is quite warm, and you can also see some swimming pools around here too, right? And it's a really beautiful region that I really enjoy coming and visiting a lot. And this Tenza Valley has been one of the inspirations for Unknown Colombia, taking into account that not a lot of people from Colombia itself or from this region itself know a lot about Tenza Valley. When I refer to this region, I refer to Cundinamarca and Boyacá. And here we are in the main square of Manta. I'm out of breath because it's climbing up and downhill. And it's a weekday. Not a lot of people are here. And also, this is a very small town, right? Hardly in the thousands the population. The other thing is, this week, in fact the Sunday, there are the elections to the Congress, and they call it as the Grand Consulta, which would determine the presidential candidates for the presidential elections. So you may see a lot of political posters also around. Although in this town, you don't see too many. However, yeah. And I don't know if you can see it clearly, but yeah, I'm sweating. And that's because of the altitude. We are about 1,500 to 1,600 meters above sea level, and that makes this place quite warm. Not as hot as in the plains, but kind of warm. Has to be somewhere around 28-29 degrees, and it's a very pleasant climate, and it's kind of windy also, so not that hot, and is not humid, not as humid, but yet I'm sweating. And you see there, that's a political poster for the elections, and there are quite a few candidates that I support. Well, politics is for another time, not me. I've always mentioned that small towns fascinate me. So look at this one. Someone has placed bicycles with plastic flowers in the center. There is one here, one there, and another one there. It's quite beautiful and creative. Beautiful and creative. This one, do you know how to say in Tamil? This is called a sembrati. A sembrati hibiscus, and in Spanish they call it as flor de Jamaica. That is Jamaica flower. And there are more of them. There is one there also, and another flowering plant here. Miso, hasta luego. I was talking to someone. And this is the beautiful church of Manta. Has to be 100 years old or a little more. Let's see how many years. If it says the date. Okay. It says between 1945 and 1952, so not that old. Monsignor Abdon Lopez used to be one of the priests of here, and this one is so he was important in the construction of this church, Benjamin Iregi. You know, it's kind of disrespectful to wear a hat while you are on top of the church. Not on top, but near the church. And this is the view of the main square. We were there, and more politics. This is a hotel. It's called Hotel Colonial. And the curious part of Tenza Valley region is that you'll not see a lot of hotels in booking. That's quite because this is not yet popular, and for some of the hotels you'll have to call them up directly and book it, and Airbnb does not exist here in this part at all. Or you just walk in and reserve rooms. In fact, for today I did carry a set of dresses just in case I happen to stay here, but the idea is to return in the evening, but you never know how the weather or how the day turns out, so it's just there, not ruled out. Okay, what time is it now? It is about 11 o'clock, so maybe in another 10-15 minutes we can start to Guajata. And there are actually two routes to Guajata. From here there is a route through the Veredas. It's about 20 kilometers. It would take us an hour to hour and 15 minutes. And then there is another route through Guateque, which is the capital of Eastern Boyacá province. That also would take us the same amount of time and is about 30 kilometers. So imagine how the roads would be. I'm thinking which route to take, so let me just make some research to see if the other route, the route through the Veredas, that usually I really love it, but the roads do not exist, right? So those are mud roads, and we are in the rainy seasons, so sometimes the roads get blocked as well, and I have had that experience here in Tenza Valley. Once I was trying to go from La Capilla, that's from Eastern Boyacá province, to another town called Pachavita, that's in Neira province, and there was a mud road that would have saved me like an hour. But imagine what, there was a landslide and the road was closed, that I realized after traveling some 20-25 minutes in. So I had to take a detour through couple of other towns. So let me just research a bit and then I'll start. And here is the main square of Manta. So maybe one thing that I will have to show you is, in a typical square of a Colombian town or a colonial town, you will see the church in the center, and that building right there, that's the town hall. So these two are essential. Apart from that, there would be banks, there is police stations and commercial establishments depending on the size of the towns. But this is a typical town square. And another of the things that I like here is the street art of Manta. So you see the town square, the fields, and the bridge that we crossed for coming in. So one side, well, let's say this is the road to Manta, and this way if we go down we'll reach Gacheta, and going this way it takes us deeper into Tenza Valley towards Guateque, and the rest of the towns of Tenza Valley, such as Tenza, Suta Tenza, etc. And more of the paintings in the street. This again is the center. Well, you see the church is here, and the way this way, that is away from Manta, that road will take us to another town called Gacheta. So that's another town that we will have to visit one day. And remember, I did mention about Guacheta, Guajata, Macheta, and the other one is Gacheta. Here it does talk about a Festival de la Gallina con Arepa Campesina, that is the festival of the hen with arepa, the farm arepas. Arepas, as you know, those are really typical breakfast food from this region. And that is the road to Gacheta. Gacheta is another town of Cundinamarca, and people confuse that with Guacheta of Cundinamarca, where my wife is from. So we will have to make a tour of Gacheta someday, and there is another represa that we will have to make a round of. So starting from Gacheta and ending in Gacheta. So that's another day. There is Gama, there is Uala, there is I forgot the name of the other town. But yeah, that's a to-do list of Project Cundinamarca. So now let's get back to the car and start. I did research. I think the better option would be to go through Guateque, taking into account that I know that road quite well, and I've been to Guajata in that road before also, and it's the same amount of time for a longer distance, so the road has to be quite well. And in addition, depending on the time, we can stop in Guateque for lunch or continue to Guajata from there directly, because today my to-do visit is only to two towns, so I think we are quite in time to cover both. One last thing before I go, this is the bus from the transport company of Valle de Tenza, Flota Valle de Tenza. So usually these buses operate from Bogota to Guateque and to Garagoa, and of course from Guateque and Garagoa to the other towns of the province, of the region, of Tenza Valley region. So that's there. So this one comes from, where does it go? Macheta, Manta. So perhaps it is coming from Macheta to Manta. And yeah, I decided to take the normal road or the regular highway, and we are just a few kilometers from Guateque. Guateque is the capital of Eastern Boyacá province, and actually there you see that's Guateque, and Guateque is one of my well-known stops in the Tenza Valley region, because from here you have the routes that take you to the other parts of Tenza Valley, such as Tenza, Suta Tenza, Capilla, La Capilla, then Garagoa, and then on one side to Guateque. Remember how I always mention that in Tenza Valley, standing in one town, you can actually take a view of another town. Let me see. We are on the outskirts of Guateque, and that is Guajata. That's our next destination for the day, right? So we should be about 30 minutes from Guajata, which is one of the coffee growing regions of Boyacá.